Hey everyone, it's Cassie with LDRS Creative, and today we're going to be combining two different stamp sets that are very different. The first one is Goody Gumdrops from Sweet Treats line. The second is this Hanging Out from Poke Doodles line. And we are going to combine them using three different masking techniques, including tape, sticky notes, and of course the LDRS Creative stamping mask paper. Let's get started. For our project today, we need to start by making a mask for this elephant. We're going to use some stamping mask paper to do that. The LDRS Creative stamping mask paper comes in a pack of 12. When you pull out a sheet, you'll see that one side is a little bit shiny and the other side is not shiny. We want to stamp on the side that's not shiny. The color of ink you use for your mask doesn't matter. I'm going to use green just so you can see when I have the mask in place. We only need the elephant portion of the stamp, so that's all I'm going to ink. I'm going to press that down, and now we're ready to cut that out. When fussy cutting masks, you want to cut just inside the line to avoid getting a white halo when you stamp. So we're just going to cut that out. We only really need his legs and maybe his arms a little bit for our mask, so you don't need to cut out the entire mask, you just need the portion that we're going to be using. Once you're done cutting it out, you can peel off the backing paper to reveal the sticky side, and we have our first mask. Now we're ready to figure out where we want to stamp our elephant on our card. You may have noticed this elephant is surrounded by all of his friends, and we don't want to stamp his friends, so we need to mask them. To do this, we're going to use some clear tape. Place strips of tape over all of the lines of the stamp that you don't want to stamp onto your project. Use scissors to cut off any excess, or to change the shape of the tape so it fits perfectly. This doesn't have to look pretty, it just needs to cover all of your lines. So I'm going in and making sure that I have all of his friends covered, including the ear of the fox, as well as the tree that is behind him. Once your stamp is masked, you can go ahead and grab some Raven Hybrid ink and ink up that elephant. After it's inked up, you'll want to pull off all of your tape. Once all the tape has been removed, you can stamp your stamp just like you normally do. Because we had to mask off areas right next to our elephant, you may notice that there are some lines that are missing. This isn't a problem, just grab a black pen and go ahead and sketch those lines in. Don't be intimidated by this if you don't think you can draw. We're honestly just connecting dots. Now cover your elephant with the mask we made earlier, and we're ready to add something for him to sit on. We're going to have him sitting on this gumdrop border, so go ahead and grab that stamp and figure out where you want it to be. To test your placement, you can grab a piece of acetate, lay it over top of your paper, and stamp your gumdrops onto it. This will tell you exactly where your stamp is going to stamp and lets you see what it will look like. If you're happy with it, go ahead and ink up your stamp and stamp it down over top of that mask. Now we need to move the border over so we have a longer gumdrop border. I'm going to place my acetate back in place to protect my paper. You'll notice the two gumdrops at the end overlap, so this is where we're going to be using our third style of masking. For this, we're just going to grab a sticky note. That's all. Lay it over top of that corner and you can go ahead and stamp. This is the easiest form of masking that works perfectly for very simple lines and corners. Ink up your stamp again and go ahead and stamp over your sticky note mask. Now it's time to remove the masks. This is like magic when you finally get to see the image all come together. Now it's time to color. I'm not finished with the gumdrops yet, but I wanted to do my die cutting now before I add any more embellishments. To make these gumdrops look like they're covered in sugar, I'm going to add a little bit of liquid adhesive over all of the gumdrops. You only need a thin layer, and then I'll cover all of it with some glitter. I'm using a super fine glitter, but you could also use a chunkier glitter for a different look. When you're done, set it aside to dry. For my card, I'm starting with a 5.5 by 5.5 inch square base covered with a piece of paper from the LDRS Creative Sweet Sensations line. I've also die cut a frame from that same paper and put some foam tape on the back. There's a link in the description below for all of the paper, stamps, and dies that I'm using in this card. So you can check those out as soon as you're done watching the video. Once my frame is in place, it's time to add the elephant. I'm going to add some adhesive to the back of our elephant. Then nest him down in the frame. From here you can embellish however you want. I'm adding some stick-on letters to turn this into a cute little baby card. So there we have it, 3 different ways of masking to combine 2 stamp sets into one card. You can find links to the products in the description below, as well as all the places that you can find LDRS Creative, as well as places you can find me. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos, and I will see you next week.